How to never get angry or bothered by anyone ever. Peace isn't found by avoiding people. It's built by mastering reaction. Once you learn this, no one can shake your state. The last part of this video will show how to detach without going numb. Bhagha's inner sanctuary. Consider for a moment the nature of a still lake. Its surface, a perfect mirror reflecting the sky, the trees, the mountains with absolute clarity. Now imagine a stone thrown into that lake. Ripples spread, distorting the reflection, creating turbulence. Most people, when faced with an external provocation, a harsh word, an unfair accusation, a blatant disrespect, experience the stone. And then they become the ripples. They identify with the disturbance, allowing it to engulf their entire inner landscape. Their peace is shattered, their clarity lost. They believe the stone caused their agitation. But what if you are not the surface of the lake, susceptible to every single disturbance? What if you are the depth of the lake? Or more profoundly, what if you are the space in which the lake exists? Unmoving, unaffected. This is the first, most crucial understanding. Anger, agitation, being bothered. These are not things that happen to you. They are things that happen within you. They are internal events, catalyzed perhaps by external stimuli, but fundamentally born, nourished, and amplified by your own mind. No one can make you angry. No one can make you feel bothered. They can say words, they can perform actions, they can hold opinions, but the reaction to those words, actions, or opinions is entirely yours. It is a choice, often an unconscious one, made in the fleeting milliseconds between stimulus and response. This is not about blaming yourself, it is about empowering yourself. It is about understanding that the locus of control, the ultimate power over your emotional state, resides solely within you. It always has. When someone says something that triggers you or acts in a way that feels disrespectful, pause. Feel the initial flicker of discomfort, the tightening in the chest, the quickening of the breath, but do not immediately chase it down the well-worn path of anger. Instead, observe it. See it as an internal event. Ask yourself, why am I choosing to interpret this in a way that creates suffering for me? The world outside is merely a stage. Your inner world is the theater where the drama or the piece unfolds. Cultivating this inner sanctuary means recognizing the boundary between the external world and your internal response, and then fiercely protecting that boundary. It is where your true power lies. The silent observer. The second, profoundly liberating discipline is to cultivate the silent observer. This is a practice, not a one-time revelation. Imagine you are sitting by the side of a bustling street. Cars rush past, people chatter, horns honk. You hear it all, you see it all, but you are not involved in it. You are simply observing. You are not running after the cars. You are not engaging in the conversations. You are not reacting to the sounds. You are a detached yet aware presence. Now bring that same awareness, that same detached observation to your internal world. When a thought arises, a judgment about another, a feeling of irritation, a surge of annoyance, do not immediately identify with it. Do not immediately say, I am angry. Instead, become the observer of that anger. See it as a cloud passing through the sky of your consciousness. Notice its form, its intensity, its duration, but do not become the cloud. Do not allow yourself to be carried away by it. This practice breaks the automatic chain reaction. Normally, a stimulus leads to a thought, which leads to an emotion, which leads to a physical sensation, which then often spirals into a full-blown reactive response, a heated word, a slamming door, a clenched fist. The silent observer inserts a crucial pause, a space of conscious awareness, right after the initial stimulus or the first flicker of thought. In that space, there is choice. How do you do this? It begins with a conscious breath. When you feel the familiar tightening, the rush of adrenaline, the urge to react, simply pause. Take one deep, conscious breath. Inhale through your nose, slowly, feeling the air fill your lungs. Exhale slowly, feeling the tension begin to dissipate. This is not merely a relaxation technique. It is a signal to your nervous system. It tells your body and mind, stop, observe. Do not react automatically. With consistent practice, this pause becomes a micro moment of profound power. You learn to watch your emotions and thoughts as if they are separate entities, visitors in the house of your mind, rather than the homeowner. You develop the capacity to witness the arising of anger, to acknowledge its presence without becoming consumed by it. Ah, you might think anger is present, not I am angry, but anger is present. This subtle shift in language reflects a monumental shift in perception. You create distance, you create space, and in that space, you discover the freedom to choose your response rather than being enslaved by your reaction. This is the path to inner mastery. Energetic barrier. Your inner peace is your most valuable currency. Your calm is your most vital resource. Yet, most people live with their emotional doors and windows wide open, allowing any passing energetic draft to chill or disturb their internal environment. They absorb the anxieties, the frustrations, the negativity of others without even realizing they are doing so. And then they wonder why they feel drained, why they easily snap, why they carry burdens that are not their own. This is not empathy. This is a lack of energetic integrity. The concept of an energetic barrier is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It is about becoming discerning. It is about understanding that while you can offer compassion and understanding to others, you are not obligated to take on their internal chaos. Imagine yourself as a well-rooted tree. The winds may blow fiercely, the rain may lash down, but the tree remains anchored, its core undisturbed. It sways, yes, it adapts, but its roots hold firm. This barrier is built through conscious awareness and intentional practice. It starts with recognizing when your energy is being compromised. That sinking feeling, that sudden irritation after an interaction, that persistent unease, these are signals. Your internal alarm system is telling you your energetic boundaries are being crossed. One powerful habit for cultivating this barrier is visualization. Before you step into a potentially challenging environment, a crowded place, a difficult meeting, an interaction with a demanding individual, take a moment, close your eyes if you can, or simply soften your gaze. Visualize a sphere of calm, clear, protective energy surrounding you. It could be a radiant light, a gentle force field, a transparent dome. See it as a filter. It allows positive, constructive energy to flow in, but it gently deflects negativity, anger, and agitation. It keeps your internal space sacred. This is not a magical charm. It is a mental discipline. By consciously setting this intention and visualizing this barrier, you are training your subconscious mind to be more discerning, to filter incoming stimuli. You are telling yourself, my peace is inviolable. I choose what I allow to enter my inner sanctuary. With consistent practice, this energetic barrier becomes a natural extension of your presence. You become less permeable to external disturbances, not because you are uncaring, but because you are consciously protecting the wellspring of your own strength and serenity. You become a beacon of calm rather than a magnet for chaos. Whispers unseen threats. Why do people behave in ways that bother us? Why do they speak words that sting? Why do they act with what seems like malicious intent? Most often it is not about you, it is about them. Every individual carries their own history, their own wounds, their own fears, their own misunderstandings. Their actions, their words are often merely symptoms of these deeper unseen threads that weave through their own lives. Imagine someone lashing out at you in anger. Your initial reactive impulse might be to feel offended, to retaliate, to become angry yourself. But if you pause and activate the unseen threads perspective, you might ask, what is driving this person's behavior? Perhaps they are operating from a place of deep insecurity. Perhaps they are under immense stress. Perhaps they were hurt themselves earlier in the day. Perhaps they simply do not know any better. This perspective shifts the focus from they are doing this to me to they are doing this. The to me is the ego's interpretation, the self-centered lens that instantly personalizes every perceived slight. The they are doing this is a neutral observation, devoid of personal attachment. It allows you to see the action as a phenomenon rather than an attack. The habit here is conscious empathy, not in the sense of taking on their feelings, but in the sense of seeking understanding. When someone's words or actions threaten to disturb your peace, instead of immediately engaging in the emotional tug-of-war, step back. Ask yourself, if I were in their shoes, with their experiences, their limitations, their pain, how might I be feeling? What might be driving this? You don't need to agree with their actions. You don't need to condone them, but seeking to understand their internal landscape immediately disarms your own potential for anger. This is a powerful act of detachment. It allows you to respond from a place of wisdom and compassion rather than from a reactive, knee-jerk emotional surge. When you realize that most people's bad behavior is simply a distorted cry for help, an unconscious expression of their own suffering, it becomes incredibly difficult to feel personally offended. You cease to be a target and become a witness. And from the perspective of a witness, there is no anger, only observation, and perhaps a quiet sense of compassion for the human condition. This understanding untangles the invisible threads that tie you to others' negativity, granting you profound liberation. The root cause. The most profound level of freedom from anger lies not in managing external triggers, nor even in observing internal reactions, but in understanding and addressing the root cause of your own susceptibility. Why does this specific comment bother you while a similar one might roll off someone else's back? Why does that particular action ignite a fire within you when another person remains unfazed? The answer lies within your own unexamined vulnerabilities, your unhealed wounds, your unspoken expectations, and your unconscious attachments. Anger, truly understood, is often a messenger. It points to something within you that needs attention, not something out there that needs to be changed. If a remark about your intelligence makes you furious, it might be pointing to a deep-seated insecurity about your intellect, or a past experience where you felt unfairly judged. If someone's perceived disrespect enrages you, it might be highlighting an expectation that others should always treat you a certain way, an expectation that when unmet creates internal conflict. The habit for addressing the root cause is radical self-inquiry. It's a courageously honest dialogue with yourself. When you feel that familiar surge of anger or irritation, after you've observed it, silent observer, and protected your energetic barrier, ask yourself, what is this truly about for me, Sans? What within my own past, my own beliefs, my own attachments is being threatened or activated by this situation? This is not a quick fix. It is a profound journey of self-discovery. It involves looking at your attachments, attachment to being right, attachment to being respected, attachment to a certain outcome, attachment to a particular image of yourself. When these attachments are threatened, anger often arises as a defense mechanism. By gently, patiently, and without judgment, uncovering these underlying patterns, you begin to dismantle the very foundation upon which anger is built. For example, if you consistently get angry when people are late, the root cause might not simply be their tardiness. It could be an underlying fear of being disrespected, a feeling that your time is not valued, or even a deep-seated anxiety about control. By examining these deeper layers, by perhaps acknowledging that you cannot control others' punctuality, but you can control your response, you begin to heal the deeper wound. When the wound heals, the triggers lose their power. When there is no attachment, there is no fertile ground for anger to grow. This is where true, lasting emotional immunity is forged from the inside out. Thus, in flowing water. The final unifying principle for transcending anger and never being bothered is to embody the nature of flowing water. Water, by its very essence, is yielding. It does not resist. When it encounters an obstacle, it does not fight it. It flows around it, over it, or through it, always finding a path, always moving forward. Yet water is also incredibly powerful. It can carve canyons, wear down mountains, and sustain all life. Its power lies precisely in its non-resistance, its adaptability, its relentless, quiet persistence. Most people, when faced with an external provocation, become rigid. They meet resistance with resistance. An angry word is met with another angry word. A challenge is met with an equally forceful pushback. This creates friction, heat, and ultimately an escalation of conflict, both internally and externally. This is the way of the rock, attempting to block the river. The habit of flowing water means cultivating a deep sense of internal flexibility and non-resistance. It means recognizing that you cannot control the external world, the actions of others, or the opinions they hold. To resist these immutable truths is to invite endless frustration and anger. Instead, you learn to adapt. You learn to flow. This doesn't mean becoming passive or allowing yourself to be walked over. Quite the opposite. Just as water, when held back, builds immense pressure before it bursts forth with focused power, so too does a non-resistant mind allow for a more strategic, more effective response. When you don't instantly react, you gain perspective, you gain clarity, you gain time to choose a response that serves your highest good rather than being swept away by emotional impulsivity. When someone tries to provoke you instead of engaging, imagine their words as stones thrown into your flowing stream. The water does not stop. It simply carries them along or flows around them. The stream is unaffected. Their anger, their frustration, their negativity, these are their burdens, not yours. You acknowledge them, you observe them, but you do not internalize them. This practice harmonizes all the previous disciplines. The inner sanctuary provides the space. The silent observer allows you to witness without becoming. The energetic barrier filters what enters. The unseen threads grant understanding, and flowing water teaches you the ultimate wisdom, to move with life's currents rather than fighting against them, to be unshakable not through rigid defense, but through profound adaptability. This is the path of true strength, a strength born of inner peace, a strength that allows you to navigate any storm without losing your center. This is how you never get angry or bothered by anyone, ever. It is the mastery of self, the ultimate freedom. The journey to an unwavering, unshakable calm, free from the disturbances of anger and frustration, is not a destination you reach overnight. It is a continuous, conscious practice. It demands courage to look inward, discipline to cultivate new habits, and patience to allow profound change to take root. But the reward, the reclamation of your inner sovereignty, the liberation from external control, the experience of a profound and lasting peace, is the greatest gift you can bestow upon yourself. Begin today with a single conscious breath and choose to be the unmoving center, the flowing water, the silent observer in the symphony of your own life. Which habit are you going to start first to protect your inner peace? Drop your choice below. Let's inspire each other.